Alright guys, welcome back to another workflow. Today I was going to do a Klein text-to-image and image-to-image workflow, but I think that I've been testing Klein and I've found a lot of issues with like mutations. So they'll have the wrong number of fingers or a second head or more arms than they should. They'll have two arms coming out of the same socket. Like, I don't know if it's just me. If anybody else has had this problem with Klein, let me know, or if you know how to fix it. But it seems like it doesn't matter what resolution I have set. I try out simple 1024 by 1024 and it still gives me occasionally some mutations. So I don't really like Klein overall so far until I figure out what's causing that issue. The one way I do like it is inpainting. So it seems to work really well when you're using it for inpainting, but I don't know, I've had weird issues with text to image and image to image using Klein. So anyway, let's look over this workflow. So this is a Klein Inpainting workflow that utilizes more than one image. So you don't just load one image and then paint, like mask the area and then, you know, tell it what you want to change. You can do that, but you also have two other image blocks you can use, which is really helpful for using different techniques. Not just simple, oh, put a bracelet on her wrist. You know what I mean? Like you can actually replace characters in this workflow. So looking at, these are both my influencers or my characters that I've created. I have Laura's for them. But I generated this image of one of my influencers and I have this one that I want to replace her with her on the jet ski. So if you look, it does a pretty damn good job. I haven't noticed any mutations or weirdness with Klein using it in this method. So obviously her face is a little bit plasticky looking compared to the original. Her arms and stuff have a little bit like water dots or water droplets on it and some hairs you can see, which are good. Her skin overall is really good. Even like on her breast here a little bit, you can see like what almost appears to be like a stretch mark. Very, very subtle. All of the body is done really well, but the face is a little bit plasticky. So you could take that into a detailer or an upscaler and that would help bring that back to normal, like realistic. What am I trying to say? Realism? Yeah, there we go. But yeah, this works really well and it's not that hard. It utilizes a node I've never used before. So let's go look at it here. All right, so land paint. This is a node I've never used before, but it seems to be very effective. It's universally applicable inpainting ability for every model. Land paint sampler lets the model think through multiple iterations before denoising. So it's kind of thinking about your original image. I assume that's what's happening behind the scenes, enabling you to invest more computation time for superior inpainting quality. And that is accurate. That works. Like, I don't know, I guess it's the thinking in this node that allows all of the inpaints to really listen to what you said here. Like, this is my prompt. Replace the woman with teal hair in image 1 with the woman in image 2 and put her in a pink bikini. Make her smiling and give her a bigger bum and smaller chest. I just wanted to see if that would work, like subtle body details. If, like, for example, the way her body actually looks in other images isn't super accurate to how it was showing up. So I made her have a bigger bum and smaller chest. And writing that in actually helped. Like, if you look, her leg over here is thicker a little bit and her breasts are smaller. What it was doing before I wrote that in was kind of keeping the breasts the same, like they were basically the same with the pink bikini. So it does help to change the body shape just writing stuff like that in. So that's very helpful. Now let's just go over the workflow quick here. So I'm using the Klein 9B model. All the models you need have links here. You just click them, you go get them. It tells you where to put them all. Very simple, very straightforward, as my other videos do as well. The one thing about this workflow is if you're using the Klein 9B, you want to use the Qwen 3 8B FP8 clip text encoder. If you're using the Klein 4B model, then you're going to want to use the Qwen 3 4B text encoder. So we start off with all the models here. The prompt is here. This is where the main image will go. This is the image you're working with. And these are the images that you want to pull things from. So I pulled her from this image to put into this image. So all you do, let's just go, I'll just do it live for you. Open the mask editor. Find the areas you want to paint. And you don't have to be too, actually it's almost better to be not accurate in the painting for the mask. Like you kind of want to go bigger to allow the freedom of changes, right? If you go right up against the edge of your model, it'll copy the exact shape and you'll get very few little changes. So you can be really, what's the word? I don't know. You don't have to be too careful with that. Now, I'm going to leave it the same and just run it so you can see. I've been playing with the number of steps. I would leave this alone mainly because it works really well as it is. But I've been playing with the number of steps for the painting between 2 and 4. I don't notice a difference, but I've heard that it's supposed to, maybe if you're having troubles with it showing up properly, you just increase that a bit and it should help push it in the right direction. I don't know. I haven't noticed any changes with this. All right, so let's see what it did. Obviously, it's going to be doing something similar. Let's go right in. So the hands are basically the same. It does change her skin tone to match more of the other model. Look at already it's changing where the arm is, making it a little thicker, which is okay. That one actually turned out really good. Her face details are much better. I don't know what I did differently, but sometimes it just takes another generation, you know? And look at her legs. Because my mask was so big, it was allowed to really adjust things here, which is kind of cool. I don't mind how that turned out. She's got a bigger bum, which is nice. But yeah, it works really well based on very little input from the user. As long as you're clear about what you want, it should work pretty well. Let me also just mention that setting this to 1 is a good starting point when you're working. Once you have the image you're kind of wanting, you can turn that up to 2 megapixels and it'll just keep a bit more detailing. I don't know. I haven't noticed much of a change between 1 and 2 megapixels, but you can play with it and see. But there's not much to this. Like, these are the main controls you want to adjust. Maybe changing the number of steps in the inpainting and the prompt here. Basically, you describe what you want to pull from these images and you're good. So we'll do one more example, and in this one, I'm going to pull from these 2 images to affect the final image. Okay, so I just loaded up another random image from this influencer with the teal hair, and she's got a popcorn bucket. So we're going to pull the popcorn bucket into this. So I'm just going to adjust the mask where I think it might want to show up. Maybe I'll put it like somewhere in here. This is just a guess. Like, I don't know that she's going to be holding it in that hand. I just figure maybe we'll give her some room to possibly hold it in that hand. Give her the popcorn bucket, or make her holding the popcorn bucket from image 3. Let's see how that works. Okay, so it decided to give it to her in the other hand. It worked great. The only thing is we didn't inpaint that, like this spot enough, I guess. That's my assumption. So let's go to the inpaint. Oh, it is kind of painted. This might be what you might have just seen is the problem that I was talking about with mutations. Let's do that, run it again. But I don't know what's going on with Klein. Maybe it's just the way I'm doing things, but it seems to have extra limbs and shit show up all the time. Oh, she's really chonky this time. Look at that. Big butt. Let's also inpaint a bit more. Right there. Okay, run it again. Okay, what do we got? The same issue. Okay, we got it. So sometimes you just got to generate a few to get it fixed, but she's finally not holding the jet ski and she's holding the popcorn bucket with the garbled fucking text. It does work really well, and if you run into issues like I just did where you keep trying to change the prompt and it's not working, you can also just use the image that has the extra hand or whatever, use it as your main image and just prompt it to remove the extra hand. You know, that's another method of doing it. You will run into issues, obviously, you've just seen it. You'll run into issues with it not doing exactly what you want, but overall, this is one of the strongest, if not the strongest, inpainting workflow I've used. Better than my last one that I posted, just because of this here. This, with the thinking, I think it thinks between each step or for two of the steps. It just handles your prompt and the images together very well. It seems to understand 90% of what you want to do, maybe 80, 90%. And then that last 20%, like I said, you can just take the generated image, move it back to here, and clean up whatever else you need to. But that's the gist of it. It's very easy to use. This is your main image. These are your images that you pull from. These are the things that you play with. I was playing with the number of steps and I wasn't really having success. I don't know exactly what changing this does. You can read up on the node to see the best use cases and how to use it properly. I was lazy, so I didn't really go over it too much, but that will probably help. There you guys go. Powerful inpainting workflow. Works pretty damn good. And if you've watched up until now, thank you so much. I appreciate you. If you guys want this workflow, it's available on my Patreon. Feel free to send me a message or comment any questions you have, and I'll see you guys in the next one.